Hey everybody, I'm here with Joseph from the Abyssal Lurkers from Los Angeles, California. How are you?
Doing all right, man. You're kind of this is in the midst of a flood of rain here in Southern California, but we're hanging in there.
I'm sorry to hear that. I've been seeing the post. It looks pretty bad. Um, so tell me what there's some interesting themes. Obviously, surf music in your music, which is prominent. But you have a great tune called Disco Renegade. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the combination of the disco and the kind of like spaghetti western was sort of an accident almost. I was going for spaghetti vibe because I just love that stuff. And it just hit me like, hey, I could probably, given sort of like the drum beat of your traditional like spaghetti western song with like that emphasis on like downbeats, that's very similar to a disco beat. So I just, kind of did a little bit of tinkering, and lo and behold, it kind of fit. So I tried to keep the spaghetti western vibe in conjunction with, sort of like some disco influences, I guess you would say.
Yeah, it's definitely like you could hear it in a soundtrack of a movie.
Well, I appreciate that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, totally. You're a one-man band. Um, this will be out in May. Are there plans to get together with people and maybe play some shows in Los Angeles, or are you working on new music?
Yeah, so the way that Abyssal Lurkers kind of came to be, um, you know, I was kind of like a punk and ska kid, when I was younger. Played in some played horns in a ska band, played guitar in a hardcore punk band. Um, and then I ended up meeting some guys through my work who were also kind of into that. So we pre-COVID we tried to get together and kind of tinker around with some surf stuff that I've been working on. And then obviously the pandemic hit, and that kind of threw a wrench into the mix. Um, so I right now I'm a one-man band. I don't have any immediate plans, to start gigging around. I'm always open to the idea. I'm kind of trying to generate a library of tracks at this point. Put out the kind of tentacular sounds of the Abyssal Lurkers, my first release. And then we had another single that came out around Halloween that just kind of had sort of like a graveyardy sort of vibe to it,
Yeah.
called The Rise. Um, but to answer your question, I'm just kind of like trucking along, working on some stuff in my home studio. Always open to the idea of playing live, but to be honest, I'm just stoked to have people, to have my music out there for people to listen to. It's something I've always wanted to do. And that's why I taught myself all this, studio magic type of stuff. Not that I'm particularly good at it, but just I learn more every time, and I'm just excited to have people listening.
Well, the DIY aspect is really respectable. When people take it upon themselves to um, push out of the way all the roadblocks and just go for it. And Bandcamp is a huge tool um, for independent artists and people like yourself. Tell me what that has meant for you.
I've learned a lot. When I played in bands with other people, I was always, a player and maybe a writer of the music, but I was never much of a booker of shows or anything like that. So it's been interesting to learn how publicity and stuff like that works, especially because even if I had done it back then, that was probably 20 years ago. So um, things have changed a lot with like, Instagram and various other forms of social media. But Bandcamp's great. I like that it's so straightforward. You put your stuff up there. I like the way that it like alerts people when you put new stuff up. I like that I can use, I can give people promotional stuff through it. I like all of those options. and it's good to know that there are options, because years ago, I remember in the 90s, man, just like burning CDs again and again to
Yeah.
pass out at shows, and somebody gets them and they throw them in the trash, like we've come a long way since then, and Bandcamp's a
Yeah.
great tool for that.
And it's out there forever.
Yeah,
It's not like you have to, go back and burn a CD. You have it there for the world indefinitely.
definitely.
So I want to tell everybody the Abysmal Lurkers releases, the 2 releases from last year are down. The link to their Bandcamp is in the description. Also, if you like some pie merch, that's right underneath their link. I'll also leave a link for their Instagram, and you can see what's happening along the way in the process of the Abysmal Lurkers. Is there anything you'd like to talk about that we may not have mentioned or asked about?
Right now I'm like, one of the things I really like about surf, that really resonated with me. I mean, it's sort of adjacent to punk, which is what I, kind of grew up listening. So there's that, but I love cover songs, and I love how the surf community just embraces cover songs, whether it's of surf tunes or totally different genres. Is one of my favorite things about it. And so with that in mind, I mean, I have one cover of Sonic Reducer by the Dead Boys, but I'm always, on my phone, I've got a list of like hundreds of songs that I'm kicking around in the idea of covering, and it drives my wife nuts. So I decided, kind of like, my next project is I'm working on, a short EP of just cover songs. So I don't have a timeline for when that's going to be out. I've got some of those tracks already done, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I don't want to hold myself to a timeline. But people can be looking for that. I would say, sometime between now and summer. So.
Okay, great. So, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry about the weather in Los Angeles, but you still have a lot of great indoor shows that are coming up this year that you'll be able to go check out. In the Surf Guitar 101 convention will be happening again, which I'm sure you'll be there, right?
I'd like to be. I went to one pre-COVID, and that's actually where I got this Tiki Phantom shirt. Their show was so amazing. Yeah, like it was basically anything you could want from surf you can get at that convention. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph, and keep in touch.
Definitely. Thank you. Appreciate it.